And Attorney Opper, you may provide the court with your sentencing recommendation.
Thank you, Judge. Obviously, I'm very grateful to the court for its patience in listening to all of these victims here today. It was very, very important that you hear from them directly, and the stories that they shared with you, really very personal and very compelling as to the impact that this crime had on so many people on so many levels. The focus of my comments, Your Honor, will briefly speak as to Darrell Brooks and his prior history, because I think it's important there's a record of that. But I don't intend to spend a lot of time on Darrell Brooks, because I think what's already been said is the most important message that I'd like this court to think about overnight as you consider your options here. I will tell the court as to Mr. Brooks' prior record. The court is aware from the bail jumping charges he's pending on several felony counts in Milwaukee County. 21 CF 5020, he's charged with intimidation of a victim, that being Erica Patterson, and felony bail jumping with an offense date of November 8, 2021. He's pending on case number 21 CF 4596 with an offense date of November 2 of 2021, charged there with resisting, obstructing, felony bail jumping, second-degree recklessly endangering safety, domestic battery, and domestic DC. That is the case where he is alleged to have struck Erica Patterson in the face with a closed fist after an argument, and then as she was walking away, intentionally ran her over with the same 2010 Ford Escape that he used in this attack. When the police went to his mother's home and found him there, he was in the Ford as they approached. He got out and tried to run into the house. He ignored their commands to stop. He tried to flee and eventually was apprehended. He lied to them and said he was not driving the Ford SUV that day, even though there was evidence to the contrary. That case is pending in Milwaukee County. He was released on $1,000 cash bail in that case on November 19th of 2021. There's a third file pending, 20 CF 2550. The charges are 2 counts of second-degree reckless use of a weapon, felon in possession of a firearm. The date of violation is July 24, 2020. He was released on cash bail in that case in March of 21. In that case, the allegation is that he got into a fight with his nephew, and as his nephew was leaving the area, the defendant fired 1 shot from a handgun toward the vehicle that his nephew was in. The vehicle was occupied by 1 other person, and therefore he was charged with 2 counts. The next day, he was taken into custody, and a loaded Beretta 9mm handgun was located just a few feet away from him. That handgun had previously been reported stolen. I believe he has court on those files later this week in Milwaukee County, Your Honor. As far as convictions are concerned, there's a 2012 conviction from May 15th, 2012. Resisting obstructing misdemeanor in Milwaukee County, sentenced to 37 days jail consecutive to any other sentence. 4/23 of 2012, there were 2 files disposed of in Milwaukee County. One of them charged misdemeanor bail jumping and possession of marijuana. He was sentenced to 180 days in the House of Correction on both counts concurrent. There was another file for felony possession of THC as a second or subsequent offense. He was also sentenced to 180 days in the House of Correction for that file.
I'm sorry, what was the conviction for?
Felony possession of THC as a second or subsequent offense.
Thank you.
On April 30, 2010, he was convicted in Wood County of strangulation/suffocation, with other charges for battery and criminal damage to property dismissed and read in. There was a withheld sentence for 3 years probation. Ultimately, it was revoked in 2011, and he was sentenced to serve 11 months jail. 2009 conviction from Manitowoc County for misdemeanor obstructing, sentenced to 2 days jail, time served. 2005 conviction from Langlade County. Actually, it was a county ticket for disorderly conduct. He never paid the fine on that, so he ultimately served 30 days jail. 2003 conviction in Milwaukee County for resisting obstructing, 20 days in the House of Correction. 2002 conviction, Milwaukee County, felony possession of THC, second or subsequent offense, 50 days in the House of Correction. 2000, convicted of substantial battery, party to a crime, sentenced to prison, withheld, and 3 years probation imposed, along with 6 months of condition time. That probation was ultimately revoked and he was sentenced to prison. That's his record from the state of Wisconsin. He has a record from the state of Nevada. June of 2016, he was charged with a sex offender registry violation, failed to appear in court on that offense, and there is currently an outstanding warrant for his arrest active in the state of Nevada. 2007, he pled guilty to statutory sexual seduction as a felony. A suspended sentence was ordered for 36 months probation. That's what led to the sex offender registry requirement, which he is currently non-compliant with. In December of 2006, there were 2 files disposed of in Nevada. One was domestic battery as a misdemeanor. He received a suspended sentence. And the other, he was found guilty at trial of obstructing misdemeanor and sentenced to jail. In the state of Georgia, he has a conviction from May of 2021. I'm sorry, not a conviction, an arrest from May of 2021 for misdemeanor battery, domestic violence. The disposition of that case is unknown. And of course, there's paternity action that was pending here in Waukesha County that had been a warrant or capias had been issued for him on at least 8 occasions during the life of that file. That's a 2003 case. He was sentenced to jail on several occasions for failing to pay child support. He was once allowed Huber privileges on a jail sentence, but had those Huber privileges revoked in 2009. Most recently, there was a warrant issued in August of 2021, and Judge Maxwell signed an order to lift a stay of a 120-day jail sentence. That is the extent of his criminal history that we are aware of, Your Honor. I think it's very plain on its face. He's a lifelong criminal. He is someone who has repeatedly, continuously disobeyed law enforcement based on the resisting, obstructing type charges. There's multiple counts of bail jumping, disregarding court orders, disrespecting court orders. There's multiple acts of violence. There's weapons violations. This man has a history and a pattern of engaging in violent, dangerous behavior in the community. And it was no different on November 21 of 2021. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the attack. And I choose to call it an attack instead of referring to it as the parade, as somebody mentioned. There's nothing wrong with the parade. The parade is good. The parade is the embodiment of a community. That's what you expect to see at a parade, is children at a parade, families, People from all over the area coming together for a joyful, happy event. The parade will continue. It will kick off again in a few short weeks. And I hope and pray there's joy and laughter and kids in the street collecting candy. That's what it should be. So I'm not going to refer to this case as the parade. I'm going to refer to it as what it was, an attack